if you've watched the first bit of the video, you know I started off with a dark green. I've changed over to a teal because it's easier for you to see, and then I choose to make some for myself, I'll change over to the green again. So again, I'm doing 6 chains, and then I'm half double crochet in. That's US terminology, half treble crochet for UK terminology in the second one. So that's first, that's the second. I'm going to do that. I'm using the back bump because I like the neatness of it. And working my way down. So it's much easier for you to see. Chaining 1 and I'm turning, and then I'm going to go into the third loop, which is this one here. So I've got the top of the stitch, which is the V there, which is you'd normally go in. We're actually going to go into this what's called the third loop. There is a video on this, so whether you're in the group or this is on YouTube, there is a video on this. And we are going to go all the way along in that third loop, and what it will do is it will push that top stitch forward and give us our ribbing effect, which you'll see shortly. Turn over, see that there? That's the effect that it gives. And I'm going to do exactly the same. So again, not in that top, I'm going to go into that third loop. And one more time. See that there? At the end of each one, I am chaining 1, and then I'm going back up. And my cuff size that I've gone for is because I don't particularly like a long cuff. Now, if you prefer a longer cuff, then just chain it for more. And if you prefer a short, if you want to double it over, then there's no reason why you can't chain longer. So maybe 15 chains, which will give you enough room to bring down. But for me, I'm happy enough with that one. So I'm going to continue this, and I will come back to you when I'm at the amount I want. So either 22 or 24 rows. What I'll do is once I've done them, I'll do 22, and then I'll see how that fits against my wrist. And if not, I'll go up to 24. But this section here, so from this rib to where I'm about to start another rib, is 2. So again, if you look on the alternate side, you can see this is the join. So that's 1 stitch, 1 row there, sorry, and that's the other row there. So I shall be back with you shortly. All right, so I have done mine, and I have come to, I'm just moving that. I have got 20 rows. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21. So I'm going to finish that off now and do my 22nd row. And this is plenty big enough for me. I've actually been tempted to go down to 20, 20, but stick to the 22. Now we are going to join this together before we carry on. Now, the way that I join these together, I'm looking to think about, right, so where would I be going? If I was to be turning this, I would be going into this stitch here. So as I bring these to get 2 pieces together, so I'm going to turn them together, and I'm making sure that whilst I do this, I am not twisting that band. I'm not going to make a chain this time, and I'm going to slip stitch. So I'm going to go into the back, so the third loop there, and then I'm going to go through the whole of the stitch on there. And I'm trying to create as much as I can the same, so that's just caught on the wall, as much as I can the same pattern, so it's hard to tell that's a join. You will be able to tell there's a join, but it's harder to tell that there's a join. So I'm slip stitching, that's all I'm doing. So again, I'm going into that third loop, I'm going into the full stitch of the next one, bringing that yarn through and slip stitching it through. So I'm not doing this tightly, I don't want to do a tight slip stitch, otherwise I'm going to change the width of this here, it'll start to bunch up. I've got 2 more to go. Same in this last one, and then this one always looks a bit tighter, but it's the same thing. And then we go up, and then what we have is we have that connected by slip stitches. And when you look on this side, it's not. It looks fairly symmetrical. It's not hot. You can tell that this is where you've joined because it's a slightly bigger gap, but otherwise you wouldn't be able to really tell. So if you hadn't made them, it's likely you wouldn't have known anything about it. Now, we're going to start to make the actual mitt now, the mitten, so the part of the glove that then comes up from this. And we are going to move up to our bigger hook. So I'm not sure why they actually need the 5.5 now, but I will carry on with this. And I am going to make a single crochet all the way around, and I'm looking to get to 24 single crochets. So I'm going to chain 1, and then here I'm going to put 2. So in my first stitch. Now, as you're going along the rows, you can see you've got, this is a row and this is a row, this is a row, and you are going into the top of each of those rows. So I've done 2 in that first one. I'm going now and I'm putting 1 in the next one. Then hopefully you can see again that this is the next one. So I'm going to put 1 in there, and then 1 in here. I'm going to do that all the way around, and I'm now working on the right side of the mitt. So this is the side. You don't need to be too careful, you just want to be in there or thereabouts. As long as you, for me, I'm going either side of those ridges. As long as I'm making 1 stitch either side of those ridges, then I know that I'm doing that right. Last one, again I'm going to put 2 in there, which will give me the increase that I need to 24. I will double check that's what I've got. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 22. Oh, I've got more than 24. I don't need those increases now. 2, 4, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. I didn't need the increases. I'm going to go back and I'm going to redo that, and I'm going to take those increases out because I don't need those. I only need to do 24 this particular round. No, I'll leave that like that because I'm going to be increasing as I go up, so I will increase one less on the next one. So here we go. Now we're going to join with a slip stitch. So ideally you will have 24. I've got 25, but I am increasing on the next one. So I'm going to yarns. There we go. I'm going to slip stitch to the first one. I'm going to make sure that's quite a nice tight slip stitch. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start what's called, I'm going to do this as an Alpine stitch because it gives a really nice finish. So you can more or less do whatever stitch that you want, but I'm going to start with an Alpine stitch. And what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to chain one. I'm doing quite a long chain, and then I'm going to do a double crochet into this, and I'm going to double crochet all the way around. So treble for UK, double crochet for US. I'm going to do that all the way around, and then when I get to the end, I'm going to put 2 double crochets into the last one. If you are on 24, which you should be, put 2 double crochets in your first stitch and in your last stitch. You want to be moving up to 26 and not to 24. As I say, I'm already there. So just to be clear, we're doing a double crochet in every stitch. We're moving from 24 to 26. So if you need to, you will be increasing in the first and the last stitch. So putting 2 double crochets in each of those stitches. Now, so this is going to be an Alpine stitch. It's going to be my version, I say, of an Alpine stitch. 2 in here. Off the camera, I'm so sorry. I've been off the camera the whole time, I apologise. Try and make sure I just need to move it down a little bit more. There we go. Right, so I'm now going to slip stitch into that first one. Now, okay, so on this second row, we've done all our double crochets, and what we're going to do now is we're going to single crochet all the way around. So nice and easy before we start to get into the structure of the pattern. So single crochet all the way around. Probably speed this up for you as well. So that's our single crochet. I'm going to slip stitch. So all my slip stitches quite tight. And we're now going to start on the pattern for the Alpine stitch. So I'm going to chain one. Then in this stitch, so you've got a single crochet followed by a double crochet below, I'm going to do a front post double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to go behind the double crochet, which is 2 rows below, bring it to the front, pull the yarn through. Now I am going to pull that yarn so that this tail is quite long, and pull that through and finish my stitch off as a normal double crochet. I'm giving myself a little bit of height here so that it doesn't start to it'll start to curl up, because this will become very tight if you don't give that looseness off. So then in the next one, I'm going to put a normal double crochet into that single crochet. So what you want to do is just be careful that you're not putting a double crochet in the same single crochet as the round before, if that makes sense. So I'm making sure that behind there I have a single crochet that I haven't used. So I'm then going to do this front post double crochet in the next stitch. So that's the second stitch. I'm going into the third one. So again, I'm going to go behind the stitch, pull it through. I'm going to lift that up, give it some height, and then finish that stitch off. And double crochet into the next one. Again, you can see, so that's the stitch I've done. That's the double crochet, single crochet, double crochet. So I'm moving on to this one to do the next front post double crochet. Yarn over, through, pull that height up, a bit of wiggle room, finish the double crochet off, and then double crochet into the next stitch. I'm going to do that all the way around. Again, I'll probably speed this up for you. And this is our last stitch now. So slip stitch 2 there. Hopefully you can see how that's looking. Now our next row, so we've got 1, 2, 3, so we're going into our 4th row, and this row is another round of single crochets. Okay, so I am going to do an increase within this round as well. So I'm going to put the increase here, so 2 here, 2 single crochets, and then all the way around 1, and then 2 in the last one, which will give me an increase to 28. First stitch you're going to put 2 single crochets in, last stitch you're going to put 2 single crochets in, rest of the stitches just 1 all the way around. So this pattern gives you a really lovely texture, but isn't using particularly complicated stitches. I suppose the complication is it moving around the back of the post, but once you have that and you've done it a few times, you'll start to feel a bit more comfortable. I'm now coming to my last stitch. I'm going to put 2 into there. Put a stitch to join. Now all I want to do is just make sure that when we're making this, we're doing this correctly, as in we're going to get the right look to it. So I'm going to chain 1. I am going to double crochet into this first. I'm going to double crochet, but I'm going into, if you will, this is sort of like the chain. I'm going to go around that chain and do my front post double crochet there, and then I'll be doing my double crochet into the top of this one, which was a front post. This is what will keep us even. So let me show you what that's going to look like again. So I'm going to go around this post. So this is the chain post that we've been using. I'm going to go around that just in the same way. Put my loop through, make sure it's loose enough, up, and then the next one's going to be a double crochet. Yeah, and then you can see now that I'm going to go into that one again. So I'm going to go around, do the front post double crochet, give myself some height, finish that stitch off, then double crochet in the next. So I'm coming to those last two stitches now. So again, you can see that I've got the two stitches here, and so I have just done a double crochet on the top of my front post double crochet. So I'm going to go around the next one and then double crochet in the very last stitch. Keeps us all nice and even. Our second row of the Alpine Stitch. Hope you can see how nice that looks. Just going to see where I'm up to on this. See, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing is I'm making the increases along sort of like where the thumb line is. So I'm going to do another row of single crochets. I'm going to look at increasing again this one. Again, I'm going to do 2 single crochets in the first, single crochet all the way around, and then 2 single crochets in the last. And I'll speed this up for you. Last one, so 2 stitches in this last one. I'm going to slip stitch to the top. And then again, we're going to make sure that as we do this, we keep this pattern going. So I'm going to chain 1, and again, I'm going to pleat our front post double crochet around the chain section, and then a double crochet going to the top of this front post double crochet. So hopefully this is all making a bit more sense now. I'm going to go around section, through, pull it up, and complete the double crochet. And I'm going into the top of the single crochet, the next one, and then we're back to the normal practice of working around double crochet from before and the top of the front post double crochet. So again, remember to keep your I've just completed double crochet at the top, and I'm about to go and do the front post double crochet there, and then double crochet in the last single crochet. Feeling I'll be a point I can start to think about splitting. When I'm talking about splitting, I'm talking about splitting between my glove and my thumb. I'll go for one more round first. Hopefully you can see what I mean. What will come to a point where the glove will start to split into a thumb. Now, if I start to do that here, this part of my thumb is going to be too tight for me. I'm going to do another round, but I don't think I need any extra width on mine. So if you find you need extra width, then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to do 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets, at both ends, and then complete your pattern as normal. I don't think I need the width, so I'm going to do my single crochets as normal, without any increase at all, and then do the repeat of the double crochet, front post double crochet. So again, if you're going to do an increase, 2 stitches in your 2 single crochets in your first stitch, 2 in your last, and then when it comes to your next row, you're going to complete it in the same ways as the last couple of double crochet front post double crochet rows. Again, last of my single crochets, nice tight slip stitch to the top to do my next front post double crochet, back post double crochet. So on this one, so we haven't done an increase, so I am just doing a double crochet into the top of that row. Do my front post around the next one. If you've done an increase, it'll be the other way around. You'll be doing your front post around the chain and then your double crochet. Again, last one for me. Tight slip stitch. Okay. Now, let's try that again now. That feels a bit better. So hopefully you can see now that this is coming to the point where you can see that section there is at the base of my thumb, where where it splits, if you will, so that I can now make that a nice easy cut off now. So I'm going to just think about how I'm going to do that. I'm going to carry on take it there. I'm going to what I'm just thinking out loud now. I am going to carry on. I'm going to do my single crochets all the way around again up until about this point. Yeah. So not very accurate, is it? But you can let me just get a stitch marker and I'll show you what I mean. So about this point, I'm going to single crochet, just be a bit more, all the way around up to this point, and then I'm going to complete a chain, which will go over to from here to here. And what that chain will then do is it will create that link here. And then what I will do is I will continue working around here and come back to do the thumb. I'm hoping that that makes sense to you. I'm just making sure that that's a good spot to do it. I'm going to do it next one behind because I've moved it forward a bit. I'll tell you what number that is for me as I've worked it up. been tempted to do an extra increase. So again, think about how it works for you. So 2, 3, that's the 6th one. I'll actually give myself one more. 7th. I'll see how it feels then. Oh, that's the door. Won't be a second. Alright, so I'm back again now, delivery guy's been. So as I say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to now put my single crochets in again, and I'm going to go just to this stitch marker. Hopefully this helps you to see how easy it is to adjust something like this. I'm not doing any increases. I'm going to put a single crochet in the same stitch as the stitch marker, and then I'm going to put some chains across. So I'm going to be missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and then going to join that. And then going to join that to that first single crochet. So hopefully now this will help you to see. So I'm now just checking this for size again to make sure that where that that chain is, I don't need to put any extra chains in. No, okay. So can you see now that what we have is, in fact, I can do less chains. I'm going to do 2 less. I'm going to just do 4, I think. So I'll go back and do that and see how that fits. So the idea now is that we will continue around this section up until about here. Okay, we'll work the thumb separately and then we'll work the top section. Okay, so yeah, I think that's just a bit too big, so I'm going to take 2 chains off. So I did 6, so I'm just going to take the slip stitch out. 1, 2, so it should be 4, 2, 3, 4, it is. I want it to keep it even because then that means it's going to be the same pattern as it goes round. I don't have to think about adjusting the pattern. Now, yeah, that's a better fit. Probably could do less again, but I think I'm going to stick with the 4. I don't know actually. I'm going to go down to 2. Maybe my hands aren't as big as I think they are. 2. Always considered my hands to be sort of quite big man-size hands. Maybe I'm not so bad after all. Yeah, that's a nice fit. So I've done 2. You can see it's not tight at all. Okay, that's how you would do your adjusting. Just think about what this feels like. Is this comfy around your thumb? Because you don't want it so loose that you've got this huge, because of course you're going to be working around this thumb space. You don't want it to be huge, do you? And look like you've got one of those massive bandages on. You want it to be a nice fit. So you can see that this is a nice fit, not tight, but snug against my skin. And this is going to be the same now. So we will carry on now. So this one here was just normal double crochet. So this is going to be our front post double crochet. So we're going back to the same pattern. But what I'm going to do is I am going to just work it around the main body. So I'll show you what I'm going to do when we come to those chain stitches. Otherwise, so this is now where we've got the chains, isn't it? So I am going to single double crochet into the single crochet, and then I've got 2 chains, and all I'm going to do is around the chain I'm going to do 2 crochets. I'll keep my pattern going and keep everything working in line with each other. So I'm going to take the stitch marker out. Not anymore. Side. And then, yeah, so I'm doing that as a test fit, and I'm liking that test fit. So I am going to do another round of single crochets and then another round of the Alpine stitch, which will bring me, I reckon, to about there, and that probably for me is as high as I would go. But let's do that and see what that looks like. So again, I will speed up this whole section for you. So as I just finish here on a back postable crochet, we'll come back to the 2 double crochets that I've made over the chain. So I'm going to put a double crochet in the first one, because we've just done a back postable crochet, and then in the next one is another back postable crochet, which then keeps our pattern the same, and then slip stitch to the beginning just as normal, and that then completes the pattern. So you can see from there that we still have the pattern going round, and it gives me a lovely fit. What we're going to do now is look at creating a crab stitch edge to the top of the mitt. So it's called either a crab stitch, or you will hear it called reverse single crochet. And move into the smaller hook, the 3.5mm hook, because I want this to be a nice neat finish, but you also don't want to do this too tightly. So I'm going to chain 1, and effectively we're going to make a single crochet as normal. But instead of going forwards as we would do normally, so we'd normally go into this loop here, we're actually going to go backwards. So it does take a little bit of getting used to. We're going to go into this loop here, but ultimately you do it in exactly the same way. So you're going to place your hook through the stitch to the back, so to the right hand side rather than to the left hand side. You're going to grab your yarn and pull it through, so you've got 2 loops on the hook, and run yarn over and pull through. So that's your first single crochet made, but we're going the opposite way. We do exactly the same thing again, and again we keep working to the right, making a single crochet all the way along. And what you'll see is it makes a very nice edging and finishes off that edging really nicely. So that if you were wearing this with the mitt part down, it gives you a really nice finished look. Of course, if you choose not to, there's no need to do this particular stitch. If you prefer the look of the glove part without this stitch on, then feel free to either do a single crochet all the way around, slip stitch all the way around, or just leave as it is. Okay, so we're doing our final single crochet now, and the next thing is to look at where we're going to place it. So this is the top of the first stitch, and we're going to go into the side of that. So you want to go somewhere just to the side of that. It's not always easy to see it when you're first looking, so just put it where you think it should go and see what that looks like. If you don't think it looks right, then move the placement of it. For some reason I'm struggling to get this slip stitch through, but there you go, I've got it done. So I'm now going to cut that off and pull it through and just try it on and see what that looks like. But you can see how lovely that edge is. This is one of my favourite finishes. Okay. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the thumb, and just as a reminder, this is a post-recorded voiceover for this video. So again, please bear that in mind as you're listening to it. So I am going back to my original size of hook, so the 5.5, and we are going to build our thumb up using the same pattern. So I'm going to connect the yarn, and although I'm clearly slightly off shot here, I'm connecting it in sort of like one of the corners, if you will, rather than on the main part of it. So I'm connecting it and chaining one, pulling that tight, and then chaining again. And we are going to make single crochets all the way around the thumb. I know it keeps on popping off screen, but it is all just single crochets all the way around. Just moving that tail behind so it doesn't interfere with my work. Okay. So I'm going to the bit where we've got the chain. So obviously we've got double crochets going up into the hand part, but we are going to miss those and just slip stitch into the first of those single crochets. I'm just going to check it, make sure it feels okay. I'm just explaining here that that will be sewn up later with that yarn. Oh no, I'm not. I'm going to work it in, I think. Isn't it interesting what you've forgotten you've done? Ah yeah. So I'm going into there and making a single crochet. So there's one there. You see it's on the chain and not where the stitch is. And then between the two double crochets and then slip stitch. Okay. Yeah, and that holds that together then, so there's no need to sew it in. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is work up this thumb now, and we're going to continue the pattern. So we've just done single crochets, so we'll be moving on to doing the double crochets and front post, back post double crochet, no, front post double crochet, sorry. So I'm chaining one, and I'm doing a double crochet into the first because that was a back post double crochet, no, front post double crochet, sorry. Then I'm doing the front post double crochet, standard double crochet, and continuing that pattern all the way around again. Now we're at the single crochets. The second, that would form in part of the chain. next one. Okay, yeah. So what we'll do in here is we will go in and make make double crochets into each of those. Oh no, I'm not. I decided to go and do a stitch. Oh, this is what happens when my sound goes out, isn't it? I've carried on with the pattern. I've done it around the single crochet. I'm just checking that I've got enough stitches and it's even. We'll just shoot the next row as a single crochet row because that would form the pattern. It will at some point be starting to decrease as well because we'll need to decrease towards the top certainly. I think I'm pointing out now where I'm going to start decreasing, which is about there, but I've got to remember that I've got to leave a bit of room for nail at the end. I'm clearly yabbering away here and I've no idea what I said, so you can look at my thumb in the meantime. Oh, I think I know what I'm saying. I think what I'm saying is if you wanted to, you could always stop this at any point, so you don't have to do a full thumb. So you could stop and then finish the edge off in at any point. But I am carrying on. I do know that. I do know I've got a full thumb on this. So again, I'm single crocheting into each one. So chain one, single crochet around. Okay, back to our pattern. So front post and then a double crochet. And continue that all the way around. Looks like the last double crochet before we slip stitch together. No doubt I'll try it on again now. Yep. Again, I'm just looking to see how high it is. I'm second guessing myself now, but I think I'm going to start to decrease. But maybe I won't, who knows. I made these gloves a little while ago. I'm pointing to the base of my nail again, so I'm assuming that's where I'm going to say I'm going to start decreasing. We'll see in a second. But for now, single crochet in this one. why I'm doing a decrease. So you can see I've just gone into the front loop of that first one and then directly into the front loop to the second one. I've then pulled the yarn through both of those front loops and continued and done a normal standard single crochet, and that is an invisible single crochet decrease. So then it's a single crochet in the next one, in the next two, in the next three, in the next four, in the next 5, 6, and then I'm going to do another decrease. So one through the front loop, straight into the next one through the front loop, and then I'm decreasing again there, making a single crochet invisible decrease. So there was a decrease over the first 2 stitches and a decrease over the second 2 stitches. So I've taken it down by 2 stitches because again we want to remember in order for the pattern to work we need to be working in 2s. You can see that that's made that thumb hole slightly smaller. Okay, so one chain and we're going to start making our pattern again. So we're going to do the front post followed by normal double crochet all the way around, and we're following the pattern from underneath. So even though we've done the decreases, we're following the pattern from underneath, so it keeps the pattern even. I think I probably just scratched my nose then. Back to the beginning for a slip stitch, try it on. So you want to do this with yours, you want to be trying yours on and seeing how does it fit, what does it look like, do I need to do any more, does it need to be tighter, do I need to go back and take the decreases out. So obviously going to need to do a little bit more on that to cover my thumb because I don't want it to be too short, because obviously then my nails are going to be rubbing against the top of the thumb. I'm going in with normal single crochets, doesn't look like I'm doing any decreases on this. Okay, we're back to doing our pattern again. So double crochet, front post, all the way around. I'm going to imagine that this was long enough after this. But I can be as surprised as you if it's not. Okay. Just very long, doesn't it? I always think that thumb looks really long on a pair of gloves, not necessarily on your hand. I was just checking the fit then. I think I've got enough room there. Looks to me like I've got enough room anyway on this. So. So it looks like I'm doing a decrease again. So in the front loops of the first two, pull through that and then make a single crochet. That's one. I'm doing the same. So that gives us two decreases. Looks like we're going to do this all the way around, so we're going to do a decrease. Remember, in the front loop, you know, if you know how you do a decrease and you're happy with the way it looks, then do it however suits you. But I tend to do this what's classed as an invisible decrease, which is using the front loops only. Okay. So there is still going to be a bit of a hole, but what we'll do is cut that off and then sew that in. Yeah. So I'm trimming that off. Pull that through, and then that would then get sewn in there. And I would use the front loops to do the sewing, then pull it through the thumb. So you've got as neat an edge in the top as you can possibly get. Oh, I'm actually going to do it. There you go. Let's see if I do it in the front loops. This will be interesting. I know you can't see, but I imagine at the minute I'm just threading needle up. Yeah. Oh no, I'm going through the two. There you go. Okay. That didn't take much to do, really. Didn't like that, did I? Doing it from behind. You just want to try and make it really as neat as you can so that it's not as easy to see. So I think what I've decided to do is go from behind. It's been a few weeks between me making this and getting to complete this with this voiceover. For whatever reason, the microphone stopped working. It's taken me a while to work out how to do it, which I'm not necessarily the most tech savvy person. I do try. There we go. I'm going round. I'm just weaving through the loops. I'm just doing one loop, which looks to be the back loop, but from the inside, and that'll get pulled tight. You'll be able to see then it should be a much cleaner finish on that end. Yeah. And if, like me, you don't like it, you can always go back and redo it in a different way. Okay. There we go. Such pretty stitch. But that's the thumb done and the main bulk of the mitt. Now, what we're doing, what we're going to do next is to make the flap. So you can see I've put a number of stitch markers in. I'm going to explain why they're there and where you're going to place them, and how that's going to help you. So if you look here now, I have placed that stitch marker around the front loop of the single crochet that the double crochets in. So where you've done the front post double crochet, we're not going to do it there, we're going to do it to the side, and we're going to do it in, we're going to place it in the same stitch as the double crochet, but just the front loop. That's all we're going to do. And as you can see, we've left the palm section, if you imagine, that's clear, so we're only going to be doing the one side. So you want to go from one edge to the other edge, and depending on how wide yours is will depend on how many stitches you need to do it. It doesn't need to be an exact science, because what we're going to do along that palm edge is we're going to put a chain which will then allow us to continue the pattern and flip the mitt forward. Okay, so I've decided to take that one out. Yeah, so I've decided to take that one out because it was too far over, and I wanted to make sure that the mitt, when it flipped back, would flip easily and wouldn't be sort of caught, if that makes sense. So what you can see, I've attached the yarn now to the same stitch as the chain marker is in, so using just the front loop, I'm chaining one, and I'm going back into there and making a single crochet. Okay, then I'm chaining one because I'm going to be missing the next stitch, and then I'm going to put a single crochet where the next marker is, again through that front loop, and then I'll be chaining one again, and I'll be working all the way along where those stitch markers are, which is why it's important to put them into every one, so it just makes it easy for you when you actually come to do the stitches. So the chain one represents where the front post is, because you're not going to be able to do it there, and then your single crochet goes where you put your stitch marker. You're going to do that right until the last stitch marker. Okay, so that's going to sit comfortably and attach the flip part of the mitt to the main body of it. Okay, now I'm counting how many around I need, and I'm chaining the same number. And if you chain and you think it feels a bit tight, then you can always add on a couple of chains, but again you need to be mindful of the actual number of stitches you've got. You want to stick to even numbers, so I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've done 14 there, checking the fit, and it will be slip stitched into the top of the first single crochet. There we go. And that's the section that will flip over and then flip back for the mitt. Okay. So remember now that you've done single crochets and chains. So we're putting one chain, and then we're double crocheting in that first single crochet, and we'll be double crocheting in the chain. So all the way along we'll be putting double crochets, and it'll either be in a single crochet or around the chain. And then when we come to the large chain space, we'll do exactly the same. We'll just double crochet around the chain. I will speed this a little bit up. Here we are now, and we were at the chain. So I did say a second ago that we're going to go around the chain, but it does look like I've decided to go into the chain. If you have watched a tutorial of mine before of me working in a chain, you'll know that one of the things that I do is I go into the back loop so that I have a nice finished edge, which actually, when I think about it, is the reason I've decided to go in the chain and not around it, so that I have that nice finished edge, because when you are flipping it over, that's going to be seen. So you want this to be as neat as possible. If for whatever reason you struggle to do this, then feel free to go into the chain whichever way you want, or go around the chain, and you may decide to go back and do a slip stitch just around that section to tidy it off if you wish to. You may not need to. This is probably just my, this is what I think this is one of my bugbears. I like that edge to be as neat as it possibly can be. So I'm now just finding where my loop is because it's just twisted a little bit. There we go. I'm going into all of those all the way around again. So again, I will speed this up a little bit. Okay, so again, it looks like I come to the end, so I'm just checking numbers. I must have one extra. Taking that out. It's very easy to do on the chain actually to add extra in. Slip stitch to the front. Okay, just double checking again. Okay, I'm going to try that on now, and I assume that I'm going to just check that that works. Which it does. Okay, so now taking those out. I suppose you could leave them until the end, but just yarn can catch on it and it's going to be just a little bit get in the way, so I'm just going to change them around. And we'll be working the same pattern up the hand. So hopefully this is all feeling quite familiar now with the way the pattern works. Obviously we won't be doing any increases, but we will be looking to do decreases. So I think now what I'm talking about is how high up the hand it wants to go before you want to start decreasing. For me that will probably sort of like to the sort of first knuckle down on my little finger, probably where I start to think about decreasing it, but who knows what I did on the day. So back to my yarn, I've just done double crochets, so now I'm going to do single crochets all around. Once again, I will speed this section up for you. And that's the last one. We're going to slip stitch into that first single crochet. And just as another gentle reminder, this is the recorded voice after the effect. So again, the timing is going to be slightly off, and I don't always remember everything that I did. We will be completing the pattern again. So I am doing a front post followed by double crochet, and again that's going to work all the way around. So I'm going to speed that up again for you. coming to the end of that round. Well, you can't see, I've just slip stitched. No, I haven't. I think I've done. No, I haven't. Just slip stitched. Well off the camera on this, aren't I? There we go. I think I'm just pointing out the ridge that it leaves. Such a lovely pattern, though, isn't it? I don't know what I'm talking about. This is about the length that it needs to go to. So basically what you want to be doing when you're looking at this is you want to think about how my hand does it need to go before I start to decrease. And you'll be decreasing 2 stitches at a time on either side. You may decide, depending on how thin your hand goes to the top and the base that it started at, that you want to do 2 decreases on each side to take it down by 2 stitches, because 4 stitches, because 1 decrease on each side will take it down by 2 stitches, so 1 stitch each side. So that's what you want to think about when you're looking at this and how you move up. So before I go on and do my next round of single crochets, I'm just going to check where it's come up to. So can you see it's already coming up to my finger, and it is in need of starting to look at decreasing. You don't want to decrease too much because you want a decent shape, and also you want it to be comfortable on the inside for your hands. But that's what the next step is going to be, is to do a decrease. So I'm assuming that's what I'll be doing. I can't think why I wouldn't. But you can see we've moved very quickly, haven't we? Once we've done that, we've only done 2 pattern repeats, so single crochet and then the pattern, single crochet and then the pattern, and we're on to the point of decreasing, and there's not many more rows that you would need to finish this off. So in terms of project time, it works up, each section works up fairly quickly. As a whole, of course, it takes a little bit longer, but each section itself works up fairly quickly. So you can see now I'm doing a decrease. So I've gone into the front loop of that single crochet, I'm going into the front loop of the next one, and I'm completing the single crochet decrease. So I'm making 1 decrease here, and then I should, if memory serves me right, make another decrease on the other side. So here's the other decrease. And then I'm going to slip stitch to join it. I'm now checking to see whether that feels like it's enough of a decrease. You can see you can start to see that it is starting to slope in. I suppose it's not as easy, but in real life you can see it. Moving on to the pattern itself. So again, you're using the stitches below to help you work out what you need to do, but following the same pattern. And do that all the way around. Again, I will speed this up for you. So coming to the end of this round, and we're making another single crochet round. So I'm trying it on, see where we're up to. Yeah, so you can see I definitely need to be decreasing again. Not exactly sure what I'm saying, but I imagine I'm talking about maybe making a 2 set of decrease. We'll see. So here we go. So chain 1, do a decrease over the next 2 stitches, so just using the first loops, putting the yarn through those 2 loops, and then completing your single crochet. Looks like I'm just going to make 1 decrease on each side. Looking at it now, I'd have been tempted to do 2, but clearly I decided on just the 1. Oh no, I must be doing 2. I'm doing them around it, so I'm doing 2. I thought I did. So I'm going to do 1 here, and then another decrease here, and then the last decrease is going to be the end of the round. So at the beginning of the round and then the end of the round. That does make more sense. I thought I'd done 2 there. So hopefully that makes sense. That you've done one decrease. You've gone all the way around, and then you've done 2 more decreases on the opposite side, and then your last decrease is just before you finish off on over the last 2 stitches, which then makes it even on either side. One of the things you might decide to do is to mark with a stitch marker, which is your halfway point, and then you know you're doing the 2 stitches before and the 2 stitches after the halfway point. Or if you're just doing a single increase, you're doing it one either side of the halfway point. Okay, you can see how that's really sort of come in now. So although that's only a decrease of 4 stitches, it's made a big difference to the way that looks. And we'll then carry on with the same pattern as before. So we'll chain 1, and then we'll work using the stitches below all the way around. Okay. I'm just coming up to the end of this round. Trying it on, see what we think of it again. And we'll do another single crochet row. I have a feeling I'll do another decrease on this. You can see it's not going to be many more rows now, and that's finished. So actually in total, that flip section doesn't take that many rows, does it? It's very, very nice though, isn't it? Lovely, lovely pattern. I do love textured patterns, so I do tend to get drawn to them. But you can see that you could do this just as easily in double crochet. Oh, I'm sorry, let me just talk this through. So again, we're going to do a decrease. So again, just in the front loops. So that one's split a bit for me, hasn't it? So I've done 1 there. I'm working all the way around to the middle, which is the other side. Okay. Just overshot by by a stitch before I wanted to do the decreases. So here we go. So again, 2 decreases on either side. The last one will be right at the end. Again, I'm just checking where I am, so make sure it works. So yeah, so if you wanted to do just double crochets or just half double crochets or single crochets, you follow the same format. That is increasing and to the thumb level, and then make sure your thumb fits. So for any pair of gloves, you can follow the same format. I suppose the problem is if you were doing it for somebody else, you'd need a sort of an idea of size. It's easy enough on yourself, isn't it, if you're able to keep checking the sizing. I have done it for other people where they've sent me like a template of the hand, which isn't necessarily as accurate, but at least it gives you a bit of an understanding. So again, we're back onto our double crochet section. So I will fast forward this so that we get to the right place. So we're almost at the end. There we go. So slip stitched in. You can see we're almost there, aren't we now? So we'll do another round of single crochets with decreasing. I think we're probably there or thereabouts after this next section. Oh, single crochet, decrease over the first 2. Okay, I'm doing another decrease there. So I've counted a couple of stitches between. So I've done a decrease, 2 single crochets, a decrease, 2 single crochets, another decrease, and 2 single crochets. So look, I'm going to be doing that all the way along. So I'm decreasing on decreasing on over every 3rd and 4th stitch. So decrease 2 singles, decrease 2 singles all the way around. Just checking my numbers again in case I need to go back and take one of the decreases out. I'm just double checking that that is a stitch and not a chain. Because again, regardless of how many you've decreased or not, you want to make sure you've got an even number of stitches to be able to complete the next section, don't you? I'm counting again here. Yeah, I'm taking that out. I'm taking that decrease out. I'm just going to single crochet along, so I must have just had two many decreases, so it gave me an even number of stitches. So just bear that in mind when you're doing yours. We'll have a look at what that looks like. Yeah. So I've done quite a number of decreases on that section. The actual look of the mitt is nice and smooth. We're going to carry on with the pattern. Just checking that the pattern's working properly. And there we go again. Just checking for fit. Yeah, I'm going to do another section. So I'm going to start with a decrease. Decrease single crochet, another one, and another. So I think I might be decreasing all the way around on this. Oh no, change my mind. Let's see what we're doing next. Pretty certain the first one's going to be a decrease. Oh no, single crochet. So I've done one single crochet and then a decrease. Oh, it's splitting on the arm, isn't it? That's the problem that's going on there. And then I think it's a single crochet and a decrease again. So we're decreasing every other stitch. So single crochet, decrease, single crochet and decrease. I'm going to do that all the way around. that's that row done. Slip stitch on, see how that feels. And then we're going to continue with the pattern. Oh, no we're not. Oh, right, okay, so we've finished the pattern now. We're just doing complete rows of decrease all the way around to finish it off. So this means you're going to decrease over two each time. So there are no standard single crochets, each one's going to be a decrease. I must have needed to do one at the end. And we don't need to worry about it being even or not now because it's not going to be forming part of the pattern. So yeah, that's looking like a nice fit. I don't imagine I'll be doing any more decreases there. I imagine I'll be sewing that in. And that's what it looks like. So you would put a button where it comes down on that flap. Put a button there. Yes, just there. And then that holds it in place if you've not got it on. So I'm just going to sew that together. So you see I'm going into those outside loops, which I sort of thought I would have done at the thumb, but obviously I didn't. I'm going into those outside loops. You're going to just pull that tie. Okay. I'll take that through so you then finish it off on the inside. So make that secure. Because then what we're going to do is we're going to be making a chain on this. So what I'm doing is I'm securing it, but I am now in the process where I want to gather a loop up to be able to make a chain, to form the loop for the button. So what I've done is I've pulled that through to the other side. So this is now the right side. Can you see that? I've then gone through just one loop of the existing material, and I'm pulling that through as if I was sort of doing a stitch and using that. Can you see I pull that through that loop, which then gives me purchase to be able to make a chain. So I think on this I do about a chain of 8 to see how it looks. And then what we're doing is we're looking to see how is that going to hold a button, and will it be big enough? You don't want it too big because you don't want the button to be slipping out, and you don't want it to be too small so you can't get around it. And you're going to place your button just where my fingers are now, and then that loop will go over and hold the flap back. Okay. So you can make that longer if you want to. So obviously I've chained another, but that's because I'm then going to pull it through. So it still only gives me 8. The last chain was to allow me to tighten it. What I'll then do is go back through almost into the same hole and pull that piece of yarn through. But you need to be careful that you don't pull the whole chain through, because the chain will just come straight through as well, as it just did then. So I'm pulling it back through from the other side. So you just be a bit more careful with me, and make sure you've left, or excuse me, make sure that you've left enough yarn to allow you to do this little chain section. So you don't need like loads and loads, but you need enough that you can do that and then sew it in. So I'm pulling it back through to the right side, attempting to do that again. So again, I've gone through some of the yarn and pulled it through that way to do it. And then I'll secure it with a stitch before finishing it off in a second. Just making sure I keep hold of it so that it doesn't pull through again. It's catching on other bits of yarn, that's why it's struggling to pull through. There we go. So what I'll do now is I'll secure that so that the loop itself doesn't come through, and then I'll secure the actual yarn to make sure that none of it comes unravelled. Be able to see what that looks like now. Obviously that needs to be done. So that's the finished glove, and the Alpine stitch has gone from the bottom to the top. The ribbon can be done how you want, and you just need to attach a little button to it and finish these edges off. You could do a crab stitch along that edge as well, should you wish to. So particularly if you haven't got a very neat edge, that'd be a lovely way to finish it off, because you've already done it on the other part of the mitt. If you wish to, you can put a button in there, so you can button it down that side as well if you want to keep that on. Alternatively, you could have it so that it's slightly further down the mitt, which means that it'll slip on a little bit longer. Hopefully that makes sense. Otherwise, that is your glove completed.